this ESP guy, who's a mouthpiece for the organization, put down, believe it, I couldn't believe that he actually called him out with all these horrific draft picks or free agent signings that Roseman's had. They're all horrible, every one of them, except for Becton and Barkley. The rest of them suck. Okay? I mean, let's bring in Marc Farzetta, who's been covering this team a hell of a lot longer than me. And by the way, before we get into football here, Farzy, Phillies, I mean, please do me one favor.
What's that?
Don't ever lose to the freaking Mets. You can't lose to the shittiest franchise in all of baseball with their horrific – wait, the Jets. All right, the Jets have the worst fans. The Mets have the second worst fans. I'm showing my colors here a little bit. Okay, you can't lose to those people because you know how obnoxious – if I'm obnoxious, Met guy's more obnoxious than me, okay? Can't lose. It's over.
All I can do is I'll promise you that I'll do my best. That's all I can promise you. I swear I won't swing at the first pitch. I'll play situational baseball. I'll play small ball only because I'll have no other choice. But yeah, it sucks. And as a community, a Philadelphia sports community there, Sills, I can't stomach, as a guy that was born and raised in the Philadelphia area, I can't stomach the idea of the Eagles collapse at the end of last year. And just as a bonus, seeing the same mistakes made this year. That's crazy. The Sixers getting bounced out against the Knicks, and then watching the Phillies get bounced out against the Mets. Those are all things that I really hope I don't have to stomach, but that's where I think I am. That's where I think I am, unfortunately.
You know, I'm going to bring up a Paisan's name here. I'll tell you what I do like, though, a guy that represents the city pretty well. Castellanos, watch this. You're at the plate, and you go like this. These fucking people, man. Then he hits a walk-off. I'm like, I love that guy. Okay?
Wait, is he Italian? He's not. Is he Italian? I thought he was wait
a minute. Sammy Sosa to me is Italian. Moses Malone is Italian. Anybody that has a vowel that ends with a vowel, Farzy, where the hell are you from here, man? Come on now. If you have a vowel,
it's Castellanos.
Okay.
It's Castellano. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's Castellano, in my opinion.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Hey, anybody with vowels in their name, as far as I'm concerned, Sammy Sosa is a Sicilian. As far as I'm concerned, yeah. Well, now he's changed his color of his face. It looks like Michael Jackson. That's another comment. I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road.
Understood.
But hey, that's a really weird look there. I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's been rough to watch the Phils, man, and I don't see them pulling it out today, unfortunately.
Wow.
So yeah, we're gonna have to stomach that. That'll be a great time. Oh, and then we get to watch the Eagles play the Browns.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, so I see Ajita starting to come up here a little bit here with Farzetta here. Hey, explain to me, have you now come to the conclusion that you're watching what this 24 team and how it was built roster-wise? Are you starting to see, especially defensively, the ineptitude of how this guy, or the inadequacies of Howie Roseman and how his talent evaluation on defense? I brought this up, Farzy. There's nobody on that team from the 2017 draft and back except for Brandon Graham, and he didn't draft him. So you're telling me nobody gets to a second contract on defenses in Philly?
Apparently. I mean, that's not been Howie Roseman's strong suit in any way, shape, or form. And one of the things that really stinks about watching Howie Roseman and what he's been going through, or what he's done as a general manager, is the defensive line. He thought with his last two draft picks on the D line, he had guys that were going to take over and be 10-year guys on that D line. He thought he was going to have guys that were going to be the next Fletcher Cox, that type of thing. And it's far from it. And I was waiting for the coming out party of Jalen Carter. I'm still waiting for the coming out party of Jordan Davis. Those guys, as the quote, the guys on the line, the guys that has nobody else coming to save them, they're not the guys. The first 4 weeks I've seen from them this season, with them supposed to be the anchor of that defensive line, in which everything else is built around. When you talk about edge rushers winning their battles, I haven't seen it. Linebackers being able to step up and fill gaps, I haven't seen it. Zach Bond has surprised me, but that's not at a Pro Bowl level by any means. So those are guys that he's hanging his hat on, and they failed. They have failed. I'm happy to see, on another note, I'm happy to see that the Eagles are going to be trying something different, at least according to reports, with Cooper DeJean playing the slot corner position as opposed to Avonte Maddox. I look forward to seeing what Cooper DeJean could do. That's not to say he's going to go out there and be amazing, but hopefully better than Avonte Maddox. And I will also say, you are absolutely right on every assessment you've made of Howie Roseman when it comes to long-term deals and long-term talent. But I will say, oh my God, Quenyon Mitchell looks like the real deal.
He does.
I'm not defending Howie Roseman, but I will say this. When it comes to the draft, that kid looks like a player. And if Cooper DeJean is anything close to that, not having to play safety, not having to play outside, but having to play slot, then the Eagles are going to have a little bit of a revamped secondary as far as those two young players go. It's funny. I never would have thought Howie would have picked possibly two good corners before he took two good defensive linemen.
I showed people a professional contract with incentives that, you have in it. And I'm a member of the NFL Players Association. So I asked what kind of contract incentives, not exactly what the numbers were, but somebody gave me two of them when it came to Devin White's deal and why he was not ever activated for the game day roster, but he was on the 53-man roster, which gave him, get this, he gets his credited year because he was on the roster for 4 games. You have to be on the roster for 4 games a year for you to get credited a year. It's not like baseball. You only need 1 year. Get this, in baseball, 1 game of your career, you get a pension. So every year in the NFL, you have to play 4 games that year to get a quality pension year added to what your incentives are going to be when you retire. All that being said, he gets that. But the one thing that he doesn't get was that Devin White had $100,000 a game active game day bonus if he was on the roster. And I showed people my old Detroit Lions. I had a $10,000 one. I mean, obviously the numbers are quite different today than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So, but he also had a $90,000 if he started. So there's $200,000. In my opinion, Marc, you hear people saying, well, Nakobe beat him out in the preseason. I'm like, Nakobe didn't play well in the preseason, and you're going by practices, running over fucking bags. Mm-hmm. To me, I think the Eagles came down to this. Well, I got a guy drafted in the 3rd round. He's on a rookie deal. He's not making the money that I would have to pay. They'd have to pay him $5 million if they were going to cut him right now if he had been active. This came down once again to economics on starting Nakobe Dean. Dean stinks. He's not good, dude. He's not. I mean, he is not a good player. He's an okay player, and that's kind of the symbolic symbol of that entire defensive roster. I mean, dude, they're really dime store shoppers on that side of the ball.
I'll tell you like this. When it comes to
– and I know Seth doesn't like him. I know Seth has come around on that.
Yeah, I look at it like this because I wanted to see, obviously, Nakobe Dean flourish, and I haven't seen that. I feel like if we're being real, I feel like it's been 2 okay games and 2 really bad games. And obviously that doesn't add up to a Pro Bowl talent there at the linebacker position. But whenever I'm looking at inexperienced players, I'm always asking about whether or not they're in a position where they're going to get better. And I don't think Devin White's going to get any better at the position of linebacker. And we saw that he got benched when he was in Tampa. So him not playing is not exactly breaking news to me. Him beating out Nakobe Dean is a little surprising. Nakobe Dean beating him out in training camp, and that just kind of coming out late in training camp. That's what's surprising to me. But I will take mistakes made by a younger player before I'll take them from a veteran, especially a veteran that's on the other side of it. The downhill slope, unfortunately, of his career. And it's not like players or teams were chomping at the bit to get Devin White on their squad. I
Marc,
think the Eagles had a linebacker problem. Does he play like he's 25? He plays like he's 30.
No.
He plays like he's 35. Yeah, right, exactly. So, look, we all know that guys, and you know this certainly better than I do, but there are certain guys that just ramp up the mileage on their bodies, and he seems to be one of those guys. The guy that I watched in his final days in Tampa, that's not a guy that was going to do a lot, but let's also look at it like this. What have the Eagles done mostly with the middle linebacker position? They have bought extremely low, and then when that guy gets to even adequate, they let him go. Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards actually rose up to be a pretty damn good linebacker. They let him go. They actually took a 3rd-round pick on Nakobe Dean, and they invested that in him and said, hey, maybe we get a steal here for a guy that could have been a 2nd-round pick, but the shoulder injury, and we'll see what's what there. When I look at the linebacker position, I don't see a position that the Eagles know how to draft. And that's unfortunate. And you're going to be seeing a point, I can almost guarantee it this season, where a lot of people are going to have the feel of Jeremiah Trotter in the middle of that the linebacking core again. And they're going to get that feel of seeing some nostalgia back there, but also a guy that I will say this, just watching him in the preseason, watching some college tape on him as well. You talk about a guy that plays with instincts. I know you're also talking about an undersized guy, but he has the instincts. It's like almost like his dad played forever in the NFL. He has those same instincts. He's been coached well by his father. So I think by the end of the year, you're going to be looking at guys like that. But one last thing on the linebacker spot. The Eagles also last year were looking at Miles Jack. The Eagles' best linebacker last year was Zach Cunningham. Remember at the end of the season, Eagles fans, we were looking at it like, hey, can we just get Zach Cunningham healthy? Because that will help us. It's been, unfortunately, a very, very low bar. But I look at Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, as a guy he's what's the up the river without a paddle right now, and I need to see some stability there, and hopefully that comes in the very near future.
Couple last questions here for you, Marc. Jalen Hurts' play. Let me give you a stat here. Last 22 games, 27 turnovers. When it comes to the Eagle wide receivers being open, do you know that they have the 2nd best differential rating when it comes to being open, and he's 25th in accuracy. I know he doesn't have AJ, but last year that doesn't play out with me because you had AJ and Devontae and you had Lane down the stretch, and with these guys being out for a game, I mean, why? And the reason I bring up last year, Marc, I'm seeing the same problems of a year ago that I'm seeing in 24. The only thing that's different is different names. I mean, do you think he's going to turn this thing around? We're getting now to the point here. Since the 2023 season, you can make the argument that Baker Mayfield has outplayed him and been a better ball player. And you know who has a higher quarterback rating than him? Justin Fields, since the start of 2023. Is this continuing to go down this route, or do you see him turning this thing back around again? Because we're now getting into a conversation now where we got a lot of sample size where he hasn't.
Yeah. I've been a huge Jalen Hurts supporter. Other than when he was drafted, and I argued against the philosophy of signing a quarterback and then drafting one, I've been a huge Jalen Hurts supporter. I am someone that is absolutely concerned. I'll even say extremely worried that these aren't things that are all of a sudden going to be corrected. And a lot of it's on Jalen. He's got final say over where that football goes. I don't want to hear anything about what he's coached to do. You have final say over where that ball goes. So when it's 1st and 10 and you're at the opponent's 19-yard line, you're just in the red zone, don't heave it in the middle of the end zone while you're scrambling around trying to make something happen. Live to fight another play. Situational football. Make good decisions with where the ball is going. If you have Saquon Barkley streaking down the sideline, make sure you hit him in stride to the point where all you got to do is throw it up and he'll run under it. There are simple things that seem to be not correctable right now for Jalen Hurts. And I think a lot of that's on him. Most of that's on him. A lot of it's also, I think, coaching. And I don't put a lot of emphasis on the idea that Brian Johnson went to the Washington Commanders and as their passing game coordinator, all of a sudden as Jalen Daniels in the Washington passing game looking pretty damn good. I mean, I think Cliff Kingsbury knows what he's doing with an offense as an OC. But I look at that offense and they seem to not have a lot of problems in that offense. I look at this Eagles problem, and one of the things that we were supposed to be so excited with Kellen Moore coming in is we were actually going to see motion. Well, every single week through the first 4 weeks of the season, we've seen a decline in motion. Now, today, Nick Sirianni talked about how, that's just game plan. That's just game plan. Well, whenever coaches go to the game plan, like, what about your bread and butter stuff? Like, what about the stuff where everything's going to hell? What can I get back to that I know we're comfortable and we can have success in? They didn't go to that against the Bucs. They didn't go to that at all, especially when you're trying to disguise things going up against a defense that you know is going to be coming after you. So, look, number one, I don't coddle quarterbacks, and I know it's a very popular thing for some people to do. Jalen Hurts needs to be better. We talk a lot about the frustration from Jalen Hurts to Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's coaching for his job. He might be in his final days as a head coach. Think how frustrated he is every time Jalen Hurts makes a poor decision. Like, that's got to be frustrating too. So it goes both ways there. But when I look at a quarterback play, I blame the quarterback before I blame anybody else. And Jalen Hurts undoubtedly needs to improve tenfold in order to believe that this team is going to ever compete for a Super Bowl again with him as the quarterback.
Last question here. You mentioned it. How much pressure do you think the Eagles are on with this Browns game? The Browns suck offensively. Now, here's what you do have, though. You got a hell of a coordinator on that side of the ball in Jim Schwartz. Myles Garrett's banged up coming into this game. They were number one in NFL in defense a year ago. Schwartz got a Super Bowl ring. Vic Fangio's never had a number one defense in the NFL in his entire life, and he's never had a Super Bowl ring. You're going against a guy who has both number one defense and he has a Super Bowl ring. Okay? How much pressure do you think that team is going to feel when they play that Browns team at Lincoln Financial on Sunday? By the way, I'm taking the 8.5 in the Browns.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I'm not saying the Browns are going to win outright. I'm going to take the 8.5.
Yeah, it's not going to be a blow. This isn't going to be a game where the Eagles go, where Eagles fans can go, "No, that's how they play." You know, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, me either.
But as far as pressure, I was the one saying there's never been more pressure on a week 1 game, Sills, ever, like it was in week 1 in Brazil on the Eagles, because if you
Sirianni could be fired Monday.
I think if they were going to fire him, they were going to fire him at the bye week.
If they lose to the Browns convincingly. By 10.
Wow, if they do that by 10, if they do that, then this team is even more lost than I thought. And then this is coming from someone that wanted Sirianni fired at the end of last year. And it's not just about the play calls. I know a clip of you and I talking last year with me talking about play calling. People really had a lot of fun with that. It's not just about the play calling. It's about the dwindling responsibility of a quote unquote, and I gag when people say this, a CEO type head coach. He ain't a CEO. I know I've told you this before, but I'll reiterate. He's a regional manager head coach. He's a guidance counselor head coach. He's not a CEO head coach. But I think if Jeffrey Lurie was
works at Home Depot, he's a GM at Home Depot. Wow.
Excuse me. Where's the lumber aisle? Just follow the smell. Anyway,
nails aisle 4.
Yeah, right. I think if Jeffrey Lurie was at all close to firing him, he would have done it during the bye week. That's because look, if you're Lurie, it's got to be in the back of your mind, even at the end of last year, while you were yacht shopping or whatever, you had to be thinking, should I fire the guy or should I not fire the guy? Like, it had to be back in there. So you look at the next season schedule and you go, all right, week 4, we got the bye after week 4. Let's assess. Let's see where we're at. Are we having the same problems? Yes, you're fired. He didn't do it. So I have to think, and the only coach he's had that he's fired with any bit of a season left was Chip Kelly, who by all accounts was the biggest, you know what on the planet. And he fired him with 1 game left, and Pat Shurmur coached the Eagles for 1 game. But I don't see him firing him this early in the season. I think the season would have to be completely lost for the Eagles to make that decision. And I unfortunately, if you're asking me what I would do, if Jeffrey Lurie was calling me, tapping me on the shoulder, what should I do? You should have fired him last year instead of going yacht shopping. But he didn't. So now he is in a situation right now where he could just be stuck, unfortunately, to ride this out for the rest of the year and give Nick Sirianni that opportunity to coach the team the rest of the way.
Well, I'm going to need a lot of espresso come Sunday, man. I can guarantee you that's going to be needed definitely for that game, because I can't wait to see how they come out of the gate. Farzetta, I appreciate it, my friend. Don't forget to catch him right here on JAKIB. He kicks off our broadcasting here on JAKIB Sports. Thank you so much, my friend.
Always a pleasure, bud. See you later.
You got it. That is Marc Farzetta. We appreciate him coming aboard. By the way, please do me a favor and hit that like button. Hey, that game on Sunday, I'll tell you what, come Monday, woo! Hey, you get beat in that game on Sunday. How you doing? Oh, yeah, Nick Sirianni, nails and hammers, aisle 4. I'd hire him for Home Depot. Would I hire him? No, because he'd give me a word salad. Hey, Nick, where's the betting? I need to make some planks for my betting. Well, it's all about the team. And we're going to do what's in the best interest of the team on building beds here. This is what we do here at Bed Bath & Beyond. Well, dog, I just need like some slats to go in my bed here, okay? Because my back is killing me. Can you just lead me to where the bed slats are? Well, I'm going to tell you what's best for your back, and I'm going to tell you what's best for what I think is best for your bed. These are the slats. Just fucking tell me where they are. Just tell me what to do. Come on, Nick. I don't need you to give me some soliloquy. Holy shit, this guy's going to start reading me the Beatitudes. I mean, right? This guy's going to give me a sonnet soon. Shocked you there. You didn't think I knew what a sonnet was. Oh, it's all good. I swear, if this junior college defense makes Watson look good, I'm done. Oh, man. Hey, I could just see Deshaun Watson, breakout game, 28 of 34 for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns and 60 rushing and 2 TDs. This guy walks off a Lincoln Financial floor with 5 touchdowns and 400 yards of total offense. Whoo, man, is that going to hurt Monday? Actually, it'd be unbelievable content for Monday. Big Dom, the interim coach. He says, hey, by the way, you got a bouncer on the sidelines because your coach can't control himself. You know that drunk guy at a titty bar who can't control himself because he's always grabbing at the chicks? Not that I know, okay? That's who Sirianni is. And Big Dom's the bouncer at the door in the tux. He's got to walk over to him and go like this. Stop grabbing at the chicks or I'm going to slam you. I'm not saying I've had that job before. Yeah. Okay? I'm just saying to you, hey, Big Dom is like he's like a bouncer at a strip club. Okay? And there's Sirianni grabbing at the chicks. Hey, Chandelier. Hey, Mercedes. Hi, it's Nick. Sit down. Hey, sit down. Not that I know. I just heard these stories before. You could tell when a person knows absolutely nothing about their profession when they're throwing out 20 sentences for a simple question. Oh, he's the king of word salad. Hey, 2020 Watson incoming. That's all being reported by the great Xander Krause, who thinks I've been hard on him. I've not been hard on him. I thought he had great topics today. No crying. You sound like Howie. Hire him a Dollar General. Hey, how dare you say that about Nick Sirianni? Sirianni got kicked out of the boom boom room. Hey, Martin. I'll tell you a really cool titty bar story doing a remote there. And then we'll take a time out here. So I worked at WQAM in Miami. I did afternoon driving. This one strip club, we had a great relationship with the station. And it was called, I think, the Pink Panther. And the guy was great. So I had a really young producer with me, and a guy was setting. By the way, Joy Taylor came with me. Okay, so Joy was my like on-air producer, and we had another like an engineer kid. So Martin, you'll like this. So the kid's up there, he's setting everything up, and they said we got to order food, and I went, it's all right. I'm not. Hey, dude, unless I know the guy and the cook and all that, I'm not eating at a titty bar. It's not going to happen. Okay. It's not going to happen. So this kid orders a sandwich, and we're up in the VIP bet. Dude, you're going to love this. We're up in the VIP room. Me and Joy are sitting there, and we're getting ready to do this. It was a Friday show or some shit. So the kid's eating a sandwich. He puts the sandwich down in the VIP room, and he puts it on the cushion next to me. So I'm sitting here. I go to commercial break. The kid's sitting there and he grabs the sandwich. He starts eating it. I said this to him. I go, kid, how much naked, Venus flytraps do you think have been sitting in that one spot there that you just put your sandwich down and you just ate? He went, I go, you didn't even put a plate down. I said, hey, happy trails. Hey, I'm like, yeah, man. No, it's all right. I don't want. I'm good. Hey, Martin, I'm like this. I go, kid, how much Venus flytrap do you think has been sitting there in the VIP room here for the last week? Kid looked at me, turned white. He left the room because he got. I said, I just, don't put your sandwich down on a cushion. What are you, stupid? Joy looked at me and went, only you would know that, though. Yeah. Hey, Joy Taylor goes, only you would know that. Because you know why? You're a professional at coming to places like this, and I know you are. And I go, hey, I don't know shit, man. Hey, I don't know anything. I just know that you don't eat a sandwich off a cushion in the VIP section in a titty bar. That's all. Hey, just give me a scotch and soda. I'm ready to roll here. That's all. We're good. Okay? Oh, man. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button here. I haven't even gotten to the other two topics yet. By the way, yeah, we got two more topics here. Also, we will not have Philly 500 at 4:30 because of a emergency that came up with his job. So we will have Marc Holmes. Marc thinks he was barred because of all you guys. Cowboys losing the next 4 games. Let me write that down. Hey, what other questions should I ask Marc before I get you out of here? Cowboys losing next 4 games. What other shots do you want at Marc Holmes? We love talking to Marc. Cowboys are losing the next 4 games. Okay. What other shot do we want to take at Marc? Oh, yeah. Being banned. Why would I ban you? You root for the Cowboys. I mean, it's not like you're the Niners or anything. What's up with Dak and CD? Had a little lover's quarrel. Okay. What are they doing in the run game? These are great. I love it. Guys are helping me. Flush twice. It's a long way to Dallas. I love that, Chuck. Chuck. I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm stealing that. Okay. Old Mozzie. Okay. Chuck, I love that. Flush twice. It's a long way to. That's fucking hilarious. Kim's like, yeah, CD's horrible. Ask if Dak is ass. Marc won't answer these questions. Yeah, he will. Why do you think you can beat teams without... Ooh. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Marc Holmes is around the corner. Resident Dallas Cowboy honk who thinks he's been banned by you. He thinks you banned him. Me and Xander were like, who's Marc Holmes? Who's Marc Holmes? I mean, we don't ban anybody. Even Dick Train. We don't ban anybody here, man. So, I mean, I was like, who's Marc Holmes? Xander goes, oh, this guy. I go, oh, yeah, the guy on Wednesdays. Okay, yeah. Okay. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.